Hello again. This is another follow-up video like I did last week for this episode of Picard. It's called Nepenthe. I'm pretty sure I mispronounced that name in my first review of this. I don't really script my reviews, I just go off the top of my head. So sometimes I miss things whenever I'm going over things in this that I meant to cover. And so for that last episode, I guess episode 6, there were some things that I forgot to go over that I thought were worth mentioning. And same thing here. I kind of just glossed over a few items that have come to me after a day of thinking about this, and so I'm doing another video here to just do some extra thoughts on episode 7, Nepenthe. So the first thought that I had was here on Nepenthe, when Picard and Soji appear, and the first thing they do is run into Kestra Mononoke. I'm wondering, how is it that the spatial trajector just happened to drop them off right in the Riker's backyard? That seems extremely coincidental to me. I mean, okay, if I'm being honest from a writer's point of view, it services the plot. It gets them along real quickly, because it would take time if they got dropped off on the other side of the planet and then they had to get to Riker. They had to find a transporter or something, that would take a whole extra 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. And so from a storytelling point of view, I get it. They just appear on the planet and there they are. They're in Riker's backyard. But realistically speaking, it seems very unlikely that the spatial trajector would just drop them off exactly where they want to be. And the first person they run into is Kestra. Unless Hugh was aware of where Riker lived and knew the exact coordinates of where his house was and knew the exact coordinates of where he was sending Picard. Which, if Hugh's an ex-Borg and he has a memory like 7 of 9 and he ever knew where Riker lived, I suppose that's possible. But it still seems extremely unlikely to me. And it just seems like extreme coincidence. And, while it's something that I can overlook because this was a pretty good episode, I'm not sure how much I really like that. It just seems very coincidental to me. And again, here where Soji and Picard run into Kestra, I really liked this scene where Picard's like, aim for my head because I have a solid duratanium heart because Nausicaans. That was a good callback. Red Letter Media, Trek Yards, Fandom Menace, they're all saying that these people haven't seen Star Trek and this is Star Trek being made by people who don't know Star Trek, and I agree with that. I don't think the people writing Picard or Discovery have seen all of Star Trek. Otherwise, they wouldn't make a lot of the mistakes that they do. However, I do believe that they do have some writers that do have some knowledge of Star Trek, and I do believe that they reviewed at least a couple of key episodes of The Next Generation, so they have a working knowledge of what they're doing, because they're getting things right. Like with Icheb, they knew that he didn't have the cortical node. That's Kristen Breyer, because she was writing the Voyager relaunch novel, so I hope she knows her Voyager lore. And then here, Picard, the duratanium heart, that means they watch Tapestry. So, while I don't believe that the writers know all of Star Trek and they don't know all the ins and outs like a Trekkie like me would, or any of my friends or anyone I know who's really a Trekkie, I do believe they know some things, which, that's the very least that these guys could do. Yeah. Kestra, on a second and third viewing of the episode, she's starting to grow on me. She's alright, little Kestra Mononoke, and Riker and her living out in the wilderness. And people have been commenting how in the season 1 episode of The Next Generation, the Riker said we no longer hunt animals and eat them for food, that we think it's barbaric and that we make something just as good. In his older age, living in paradise like this, maybe those little unicorn rabbits are little bastards and they get into, the garden and they screw things up. Or maybe there's just an overpopulation and it's a thing to hunt them because it helps keep the population in check. And Riker did grow up in Alaska or fishing with his father, so I believe that he would have taught his daughter to go hunt. I'm okay with her being a little hunter. I don't know about hunting venomous unicorn rabbits. That's and then they trust her to remove the venom sacs before they eat them, so they don't puke black bile. I think that's a little much, but okay, sure. And then here, where Picard and Riker catch back up, Riker has a good line for Picard that I thought was really good, where he says, "What did I tell you when you went off to conduct your great supernova rescue of the Romulans?" And Picard's all, "You said, so you're planning to spend the rest of your life ass deep in Romulans." You know, ass deep, that almost sounds like balls deep. That sounds overtly sexual. But at the same time, ass deep, you're wading through something and it's up to you and your ass. That, well, I want to say that sounds too vulgar for Star Trek. That actually does sound like something Riker might say, ass deep in Romulans. So I'm okay with that line. And that was one that I missed in my first review. I was amused that Riker had the line, ass deep in Romulans. That tickled me. He's like, "What did I tell you?" He's like, "What did I say to you?" And he's like, "So you're planning to spend the rest of your life ass deep in Romulans." And just hearing Picard say it, it was kind of funny. It's like he didn't want to repeat the words, but he said it anyway. This episode just hits you in the feels. Again, it's a little convenient that they happen to appear right where they want to be, but at the same time, it just felt good seeing these guys back together. It did. And then here where Troy comes in, she's like, Soji, the young woman, she's terrified, she's been through a lot, she's traumatized, blah blah. She's very quickly able to assess how Soji is doing because she's a therapist. But I think she already knew that she was an android because she could pick up on the fact that she wasn't sensing her emotions. However, when Data had his emotions chip and he was, mirroring emotions from Lore, she was able to sense emotions in him. So I guess it really it's the dictates of the plot. But I guess she couldn't sense Soji's emotions, so she already knew that something was on, and that was the first thing that she said to Riker, that she's traumatized, all this, but I can't sense anything from her. And so that was the first time that Riker picked up on the first hint that she isn't what she seems to be. And then here, the shower, okay, I had a conversation with somebody about this who said that living in the wilderness here, living on the frontier on a planet where there's no infrastructure, which Riker talked about there being spaceports and cities and other people living on the planet. So there is infrastructure here. There is. They're just living in a pristine wilderness home that's out in the middle of nowhere. And I commented in my last review that I thought it was weird that the shower would be outside and that everybody has to take their shower out there and that they're naked outside all the time, and that they wouldn't have a shower inside. And, Troy being a Betazoid and Riker being an insert penis anywhere type of guy, I could see it. I mean, I would think that his daughter would want some privacy, but maybe they're just naturalists and they're comfortable and, it's 24th century. They don't have to worry about anything. So, yeah, that's fine. They're all whatever outside. But these pipes here, these are very obviously pipes made today. And then the turn nozzles that have pressure and top up water. It just seems so anachronistic to me. It doesn't seem like something from the 24th century. I almost wish that they had disguised these pipes with like some kind of a box in front of them. And then they had put some kind of a touch panel L-cars that controlled the shower. I mean, I get it. I get it. They're filming this on somewhat of a budget, and this is a real shooting location. But they could have done any number of things to just, have a few buttons that she pushes and some sound effects, and made it just look like it was $23.99. Now, I talked to a friend about this, and he said that, rather than having some kind of futuristic pump underwater that needs quantum stabilized bolts and nuts for it and shit, that it makes a lot more sense for you to just have a regular pump that goes up to this thing and that works, and if it breaks down you can very easily fabricate parts for it and fix it in a day or two, and that something simpler is more practical when you're living out here like this. And maybe that's true, and maybe that is so, but I still would have liked some set dressing and something here that looks a little futuristic. Something that doesn't just look like a shower that you might find somewhere, Burning Man or out at the park in the Greenbelt or something. These turn knobs, they look so 20th, 21st century, and this is supposed to be $23.99. So I get it. It's just a shooting location. It's just a shower. And I get it. They could have wanted a shower here that is very old school, very low tech, very simple to maintain, works very well. Doesn't have some kind of quantum inducer, super futuristic water pump underground that gets some... I get it. Less is more. But it just looks so out of place to me. And yeah, I get it. Something more low tech is easier to maintain in a place like this out on a planet, but I would have liked them to do some set dressing. I would have liked a box, I would have liked a panel, and even the shower itself, the sheet metal there and the wood and the framing, just everything about that. Everything about this shot here. Okay, the wood cabin, I can accept the wood cabin. People are still going to want to work with wood in the future, but there's nothing about this that says alien to me. There's nothing in this shot here that says almost 25th century. It's $23.99. There's nothing here that says future to me. I would have even liked for them to just, put some panels on the outside of the shower. Make it look like some newer kind of metal or material or something. Made it not look just like sheet metal from today. This sticks out like a sore thumb to me, and I can't. The more I see it, the more it just kind of bothers me. Another thing that I really liked was Kestra and Soji's interactions. I thought that they were really good, and she asked her, "Are you really just 3 years old?" Like when she told her, until recently, I thought that I was human. And now it turns out that I was made in the last 3 years. And then Kestra starts telling her things and, kind of being a little bossy. And she's like, well, who made you the boss of things? And she's like, well, you're 3, so that means I'm in charge. I thought that was cute. Kestra and Soji, I'm okay with the two of them. Kestra is starting to grow on me. I do like Kestra. I liked her little line that you're 3, so I'm in charge. that was cute. The whole thing is just kind of cute. Yeah, you're 3, so I'm in charge. And she's not wrong. And then this scene here where Picard and Troy talk about Troy's son who she lost and how he made a language. I missed this the first go, but his name was Thad, which is short for Thaddeus. And Thaddeus Riker was Riker's ancestor who fought in the American Civil War. I thought that was, again, a great callback, and that's probably Christian Breyer, because Christian Breyer knows Voyager, and that's from a Voyager episode. So they named their son Thaddeus after Thaddeus Riker. That's great. And they named Kestra after Deanna Troy's sister who died. I love the names of their kids, Thaddeus and Kestra. That was great. And the kid's name is Thad. And they had this great conversation here about how he thought that was the first time he met them. It was actually the second. Now, I'm not even going to get into the whole bit about the silicon virus needing to be cultured in a positronic brain. That just reeks of bad writing to me. But then you got the DS9 episode where Bashir replaced part of Vedic Barial's brain with a positronic matrix. So, positronic parts were part of medical applications, and that is something that is canon. They did in Deep Space Nine. So maybe they did have positronic matrices that could be used in medical applications. But again, unless he was like, playing with a Horta or something, I'm not sure how Thaddeus came down with a silicon virus. And it seems stupid to me that the ban on synthetic life also bans the use of positronic matrices for medical applications, and that their kid just has to die from it. That makes no sense to me. And also, I know why they didn't go to the Briar Patch now, because they had gone to the Briar Patch, they would have to show all the people who were there. They would have to show Anise, who's still waiting for Picard to show up and sweep her off her feet. And the people in the Briar Patch aren't supposed to age, and the actors would have aged, and they wouldn't have been able to do the CGI de-aging good enough, so they can't show any of the people in the Briar's Patch. And it would be so expensive to go there and de-age everyone, and even attempt to de-age them, so the easiest thing is they went to Nepenthe. Yeah, because they just can't do that. So, yeah. And then the last bit I'm going to touch on here is here where Picard and Riker are talking, and Kestra comes out, and Soji comes with her, and she's speaking one of the 8 languages that Thaddeus made up, and Riker's like, how does she know how to speak that language? And Kestra tells her, I showed it to her, and she learned it in like 2 minutes. She read the entire thing. And then she does the little Data head tilt here, which the first head tilt was in episode 4 when she went ice skating with, what's his bucket? Starts with an N. See, Narek. Yeah, these names. When she went ice skating with Narek, she did the head tilt when she was going into the Borg ventilation duct, as you will. And Jonathan Frakes directed that episode, so I'm sure he was the one who was like, Data does these head tilts, you need to do this. So I really like that here she did the head tilt. And so, just from that, from her picking up a whole language in 2 minutes, from what Troy said about her before, about not being able to sense her, but knowing that she's traumatized and a lot's going on, then seeing the head tilt, Riker was instantly able to pick up on the fact that she's an android. And then Picard, he's talking about anti-cloaking scans, so that means Romulans. And if you're hiding from them, that probably means Tal Shiar. I liked how he was able to just posit and intuit everything. That was just really good. The writing was good. The way they put it all together was good. Everything about this was good, and I enjoyed it. And yeah, those are the few things that I picked up on that I think I left out of my previous review. It's too convenient that they just show up in the backyard, but okay. The Duratanium Heart was a good call out. The Ass Deep line was definitely a Riker line. I like them picking up on the android stuff almost right away. The shower sticks out like a sore thumb to me. Just like the 3D printer replicator later. I had a friend say that grounds in reality, that we have 3D printers now and that they almost are replicators. And then in the future they probably would look like that, and that they wouldn't just be a hole in the wall. I would rather have just a hole in the wall with some grids in it and some lights, and then you put the special effect in there. I don't like the 3D printer being used. There's probably some committee meeting like, oh, we have 3D printers now, and they're basically a replicator. And they're like, did they have 3D printers? Were those a thing in the original Next Generation? Like, I don't know. I didn't watch the original Next Generation. Oh, neither did I. But 3D printers, those are a thing now, right? Yeah. And I could see them doing that. But same thing with the 3D printers being replicators. I feel like these showers stick out like a sore thumb. Same thing. There's nothing in Riker's house at all that says future to me. And whatever. He can have items and stuff, human items that don't look futuristic. But some LCARs, some screens, some holograms, some displays, some weird looking items. I would just like some set dressing. Is that too much to ask for? Some set dressing, some set pieces. Make this shower not look like a shower that I could find out at Big Ben somewhere. That's all I'm saying. So, the set dressing bothers me, and nothing here looking like it belongs in the future. That stuff bothers me, but I like the interaction between Kestra and Soji. The year 3, I'm in charge. That was great. I love the name Thaddeus. That was great. And I just love Riker picking up on everything. Those are the things. And all these little things just make for a great episode. And, you know, some of them are detractors, like just showing up in the backyard and the set dressing. But even that, I can forgive it because just the feels were all there in this episode. And it was great. So, yeah, I'm all about it. I was all about this. This was a good episode, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. And I swear to fucking God, they said that Riker is still on reserve duty. He could be reactivated, but it would have to be something major for him to be reactivated. And apparently, in the Ready Room, the After Trek show with Will Wheaton, they mentioned the what is it? The USS Titan, which is a Luna class starship. It would be interesting to see Riker show up on the Titan again. We haven't heard about the Titan. We haven't seen the Luna class. We don't even know if the Luna class is canon on screen. You know, it's an STO. It's in the relaunch novels. We've never seen the Luna class on screen. So it would be nice for them to use a Luna class in the show. Show us a Federation starship. That is one thing that is sorely lacking so far in Star Trek Picard. We've not seen one goddamn Federation starship from the 24th century. Show us a Luna class. You know, if you're not going to give us a Sovereign class or an actual Galaxy class that isn't a dream or a hologram, give us a Luna class. That would make me happy. But Riker said that he is a reserve. He's still on reserve duty, that he could be reactivated. I swear to God, if at some point they bring Riker back, or if somebody tracks them to Nepenthe, and his daughter gets killed, or Troy gets killed, or Riker gets killed, or something happens to any of the Rikers, I'm going to be so pissed off. They better not do that. They better not fucking touch the goddamn Rikers. That's my last word on the subject. Yes. So, I don't have a lot of viewers. Not a lot of people watch my channel. This is mostly just me talking to myself. You know, sometimes it's fun to talk to yourself. But I'm making these videos more for me than anyone else. But if anyone is watching this and you did listen to this and you watched it all the way through, thank you. I sincerely appreciate it. And I hope you have a great day. Be well and Jolan True.